hunting season's off to a good start. I killed the smallest deer of my life.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. How about you guys, man? I'm living vicariously.
It's been super good so far, man. September was awesome. October started out good. We killed a couple pronghorn last week. Brody got his first one ever, my youngest son. And then my buddy's wife, Steph, got her first Colorado buck. And so, yeah. And then I went and set this morning and saw some little scrappers up on their feet messing around. And yeah, so it's been good. It's been a lot of fun.
I was in a tree this morning too for a couple minutes. It was it's a little slow here. A little slow. Not a lot of acorns around. So
yeah, it's slow here. It's just the time of year here. I mean, all of our crops are still standing, and that makes a huge difference for us, especially on a couple of properties we hunt. But Hunter, this is Aaron Hunter.
Nice to meet you, Aaron.
Nice to meet you, buddy.
And
excited to have you on.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
He actually has a different tag than I do. Well, a different unit than I do, and his is for mule deer. So he's actually probably more in the chips than any of us right now. So we'll see what he decides to do.
It seems to be the theme of his season, huh?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does seem to be good.
Getting lucky.
Yeah. So we are here today with my good friend Jace Bauserman and his son Hunter. I don't know if I should be like jealous of your season but I am uber excited for you guys because following you has been great. Why don't you guys kick it off by saying, well, let's introduce Hunter because Jace, you've been on the podcast. Our guests love you. I get comments on like, oh, I love that Jace podcast. So I was excited to have you back on. Yeah. Hunter, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, buddy?
Yeah, man. I mean, my name's Hunter. My dad is Jace. But no, honestly, a couple years ago, I was in high school, but super focused on sports. Didn't really get the opportunities to get out in the woods as much as I wanted to. And now that I'm out of high school and I'm actually a apprentice plumber now, I can go out and be a weekend warrior and hunt as much as I want on the weekends. So I've really enjoyed being able to have that freedom.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. It's good to see the motivation. The one thing I was thinking about today was, do you feel like you live in your dad's shadow, or do you feel like you live in his footsteps?
That's
careful. Okay.
We can have a podcast just you and me too at some point.
Okay. No, kind of a double-edged blade, I guess, because in a way I feel like I'm living in his shadow because I feel like almost a pressure to have to kill things, but he doesn't put that pressure on me. That's more of like my mental side of it where I feel like I should, and but following in his footsteps definitely more so because taught me everything I know, showed me the right way to do things, the wrong way, the whole nine, so I don't know, super blessed to have him as my dad.
So that's such a good answer.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Now I owe him $100.
When I had your dad on the last time, we talked about how your dad grew up hunting and where he learned and who he got mentored from. And he talked about Bill, and it was cool to see that your dad didn't really learn the right way, and he's getting the opportunity, like he did eventually when he got a mentor, but he has this opportunity to teach you and your brother and, like handing it down kind of thing. And the one thing that I'm harping on a lot of these podcasts is the importance of finding a good mentor, the importance of being a good mentor. Jace, how is it? Is it like full circle for you to see your boys and get to teach them the right way?
Yeah, it's the best, man. Honestly, like this season, he was even asking me last night. He was like, he came home last night and he's like, have you been back out hunting elk? And I'm like, no, I have not. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, because I mean, it's a different type of joy you get seeing your kids, enjoy it. And it's something that I never really felt like I I really ever pushed anything that I've done. I've never really felt like I've pushed that on them super hard. I want them to make their own choices and decide. Is like I've always told them, is as long as they're doing something that's constructive, as long as they're doing something that they're working towards, as long as they have a goal and are motivated for something and it's something productive, I don't really care what that something is. I don't care if
Uh-huh.
it was musician or art, or I really didn't make any difference to me, because I just wanted them to do um what made them happy and what kind of floated their boat. And he's definitely was always definitely much more into the hunting side of things than Brody. And I think Brody will come around, but he took sports. I mean, I give him a lot of credit. Like he wouldn't miss a weight session, a film session. He wouldn't miss anything. So this has really been his first couple of seasons where he's been able to hunt more. And just seeing, like I told him, time is kind of the great equalizer. If you're able to spend a lot of time out there, good things are going to happen. And then, he's just kind of got that young, super energetic, go get him attitude. And so like any chance he gets, he's going. And so that's
Uh-huh.
why he's a good hunter. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, that's some of the reasons he's having some success. But man, it is super, super cool to see all the success and to sit back and kind of watch and see the things come full circle. For sure. It's cool.
So you started your season out, Jace. You killed an antelope first, right?
Yes. Yes, I killed an antelope. Ask Hunter if he
Yeah.
killed an antelope.
I might have missed one.
Oh, no, with your bow?
Yeah.
So the first time I heard your dad on a podcast was with Tony Peterson, and they were talking. Well, I don't know. I'm sure it was one of the like 300 podcasts your dad did on Hunt for Real. uh, but he, you could tell when Tony couldn't get a guest because your dad was on.
I was on standby. They're like, he's like, bro, I gotta go to you again. That's very
Well, one of the things that intrigued me about your dad was his passion for doing the spot and stalk antelope thing, because nobody does it, with the bow. Everybody wants to sit on a water hole. Have you gotten bitten by that bug yet?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a different animal. I mean, watching him, like I've been dropping him off in our little Ford Ranger since I was like 10 years old on antelope stalks, and watching him do it and then seeing him kill stuff doing that. I was like, man, I feel like I could do that. And it is probably the hardest thing you'll ever do with a bow. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about stalking an antelope?
Getting close and just seeing them. Like once you get close to them and they're just there, and you come over a rise or around a cactus and they're just standing there and they have no idea you're there. Just that part of like being in that moment is probably the best thing for me.
Hunter, your dad told me that you were going to go that you wanted to challenge yourself, and you guys did a public land elk hunt that in Colorado, correct?
Yep.
That was your first one this year.
Yep.
What made you want to do a hunt like that?
To be honest, is just being on, like, watching YouTube videos or whatever, like different people, Colorado over the counter, public land elk hunts, and watching all those unfold. I kind of wanted to experience that for myself and just make a little challenge for myself and as a team and see if we could get it done. Luckily, the cards fell our way and it happened somehow, and it all worked out. But it was really cool.
Jace, how about you? When he was like, let's do this tough public land elk hunt, what was your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, of course. Like I'm always all in, and I'm definitely up for it. And being able to do that with him this year, because, like I said, in years past, it just wasn't an option. And so we were able to commit days and time when he was here to go do those things. And like we really I told him, I was like, he doesn't realize how special of an elk season he had because of how many bulls we got into. I mean, really, really, the first day we went out,
It's like September 5th.
yeah, I mean, we had a bull,
Oh, wow.
and this is one of the most fired up I've ever seen. I mean, for this early, this is like a 340 bull, zero question, like
Oh,
zero
wow.
doubt. He already had cows, and we made a very good move on him. I mean, we put him to bed. We watched him through the glass, put him to bed. slipped in and got above them, got our wind right, backed out. The wind was wrong, came back in, and got Hunter set up where, we figured Hunter was probably within 200 yards of him. I knew he had several cows. We knew there was a spike, and we knew there was another bull somewhere, but we didn't know where. And I got back about 75 yards, and literally, this is like 11:30 in the afternoon on September 5th. And I made a tiny little cow call, and he just crushed it. I mean, he came
Oh,
unglued.
cool.
I'm like, this bull's gonna come. And so then we went back and forth, back and forth. And of course, I can't see him, but I called a spike right past him, which I didn't know. He said
Right.
it right past him. And this bull just, what big bulls do, he wasn't able to break, he just wouldn't break that 100 yards and fully leave his cows. I just couldn't get him irritated enough. And it was good because it was a good learning experience for him, is a good learning experience for me. Because like when I got up there and I knew the game was over and I slipped up there, he's like, I had a cow so close. I was like, or a spike so close. And we talked about that. And I said, dude, why didn't you go shoot the big bull? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, if he doesn't break, if he's not actively coming, just let me keep him bugling, and then you go slip in and kill him, which
Mm.
which is totally my fault because I did not have that conversation with him before I left him. And that's
Right.
just that time of us not having a lot of those moments together in the past because of sports and things. But even I still don't even think you probably could have crept on that bull. I mean, it was fairly open to, but I don't know. What do you think?
It was loud. The ground was just all shale, and I don't know. It might have worked. I don't know, but his cow, the way they were bedded, the cows are kind of bedded up above him, and he was below,
Mhm.
and I was kind of in this flat on this draw, just like, I don't know, 20 feet above him. But I saw him when he broke off a little bit, and he worked up above us on this ridge, and he could just look down and see me. But when he went back in, I probably could have slipped up on him. I don't know. It would have been close.
What's that dynamic like? Jace, were you calling all the time, or Hunter, were you calling for dad sometimes too?
No, I told him this. Like I told him that when we went, it was for him. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that gets lost a lot. I see some of this, and I'm not. Again, just like you, dude. I mean, I'm not. I get it. In my job, I would lie if I say I didn't feel pressure to perform and I didn't feel pressure to fill tags and things like that. That would be an outright lie. But
Yeah.
like, I think sometimes like we get so me centric that it's just like, well, as soon as I get mine, then you get to go, but you need to learn how to call, da, 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 da. And I told him, I was like, you're killing, you get every time, you get every rep, you get every
Mhm.
chance. I'm calling, I'm doing whatever until you get yours. And I just think that was, I mean, he put in time, he put in work, he's gotten really good at shooting his bow, he's been working out, he's been doing all the right things. And I was like, you know what? I mean, I've killed a lot of elk. I mean, I would much rather see him kill an elk, be a part of it, than have another, whatever. But it was yeah, so it was that's the way we did it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, that's a really good way. Well, first of all, it's a good way to learn because you got a teacher that's ready to teach,
Right.
Um, from your perspective, Hunter, how do you feel like the dynamic went when is that something you were able to learn a lot from?
100%, because I mean, like you said, I got every rep, we just about every scenario that could have happened this season definitely
Did.
happened.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
I blew a really good stalk and blew a
Tell me
couple.
about it.
Yeah, okay. So we had glassed up this bull, and he had this 3 or 4 cows, and they were just in this little tiny patch of
4
trees. 4 cows, yeah. They were in this
4
little
cows.
tiny patch of trees, and he would just come out, and this cow would try and leave, and he'd push her back in. They just did that until they bedded down, and we bedded them, slipped all the way around them, got our wind right. And I mean, they were bedded right on the face of this canyon.
It was
and
one of
like
the weirdest
straight
places
down.
I've ever seen elk choose to bed.
I mean, they bedded. It
Huh.
was like a rim rock above them, rim rock below them, and then just a slope with some trees that they bedded on. and it was just below that is just like 150-foot drop straight down to the bottom of the canyon. And
Wow.
so we slipped around them. My dad left me and we went over some hand signals, and this is where I kind of messed up. Once I got around the front of this bend, I was 35 yards from the bedded cow, and I kind of just sat down. But once I got to that front, it was kind of swirly. And my dad had told me, if you see him down there and you can't see the bull, back out and give me this so I can cow call and see if he'll come out of the trees. And I didn't.
Okay.
And I just sat there hoping that he'd just come out on his own, or I'd see antlers or something. And that wind swirled and they took off
Oh man.
in a long trot.
And he didn't know. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't know, but I heard
Yeah.
from where I was, I hear the unmistakable elk, animals moving,
Yeah.
and he shot, because I couldn't see him. And then like nothing's going on. So and then I saw him come back and I was like, yeah, he's like, I don't know what happened. I was like, well, they winded you for sure. And so they went out, and those are, I think that's something that is that I think what I'm most proud of him for in this entire elk season, archery wise, is that the fact that like he was so close twice, like in both, like so close. And you could see the discouragement, you could see now we got to make this long walk back. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's over. It's ridiculous. This is, it didn't work out, but he was able to keep, he stayed motivated. He knew that, something good could happen at any moment. And, and I think that's what really led to him having success later on in that hunt was just being able to shake off those things. Because like I told him, with a rifle, with a muzzle loader, both those bulls are 100% dead. They're dead.
Yeah. Right.
Bow hunting, I think we talked about this. I mean, 9 out of 10 things can go right, but it's got to be 10. 9.9 isn't 10. 10 is 10. And if 9.9 is and he was 9.7 to 9.9 twice, and 10 just didn't
Right.
happen. So like that's what people like, the margin of what can get messed up, or something that can go wrong, or one little wind thermal, or one shift, or whatever it may be, something seeing you, it just changes the game drastically when you decide to put a bow in your hand. And but like I said, he stayed diligent, he stayed after it. And then, it was actually within 2 hours, I would say 3 hours, because we stopped and ate lunch after those elk winded him, that he killed his bull.
Middle of the
Wow.
day.
Middle of the day. 2 o'clock in the
Pouring
afternoon.
rain. Oh my goodness.
It was pouring rain when you shot it.
Gosh, pouring rain.
Why don't you just let's just rip the Band-Aid off and tell me the story, man. This is your
This is a wild
we're
story.
Yeah.
we're gonna tell a lot of stories, but I'm excited to hear this one. Is this your first bull?
Yeah, that was my second bull, but first archery bull.
First archery bull.
Yep.
So cool.
No, yeah, I'll just start from where we were eating lunch, I guess, because it's kind of funny. No, we were eating some Mountain House meals, and it was beautiful out, like perfect temperature, a little cloudy, not bad. And we looked back behind us from where we come from, and it looked just gnarly storms. It just came out of nowhere.
So Colorado thought it was Florida for a second or something.
Goodness, it was ridiculous.
It really rained.
And within 10, 15 minutes, that storm was just rolled all the way on top of us. Our radar was just like a red circle for 30 miles.
Oh, no.
It was just pouring everywhere. And so we hopped in the truck and we were leaving and we come up over this hill, and right in front of us on the road, and I saw an elk run across the road like 200 yards in front of us. And
Just ran across the 2-track.
And it is bald
No
prairie
way.
over here and like a patch of trees over here. And that's it.
Mhm.
You just run across the 2-track road. And I was like, elk, they freaked out. It was not, I thought that we were for sure done. And that sucker runs across the road, and we park, and it's just pouring rain. Like we can't even hardly see at this point. And we watch him run up into these trees, and didn't see him come out. But on the backside, it was kind of rolly hills. You couldn't really tell, so he could have slipped away. And then we kind of got a little break in the rain where it was just sort of drizzling and raining kind of decent. So we slipped around where we thought he was, and set up, made a little calling session. Nothing happened, didn't hear nothing. And my dad told me to walk up over this hill, and he could be bedded over there. He might not be, just to walk over there and he'd pick me up. And I was walking super discouraged. I'm not going to lie to you. I was so sad. And
Yeah.
I was out in the middle of the prairie. And I look up and there's an elk like 500 yards in front of me, just bedded underneath a cedar. I threw my binos up and it was the 6x6 bull. And I was like, oh boy. Freaked
Yes.
out, belly crawled into the trees because I was paranoid. I thought he was going to see me. Lost my release on the ground, had to belly crawl back
Oh,
out
no.
there, grab my release. And then I text my dad. I said, found the bull. I'm going to go kill him.
I'm going to go kill him. That's literally what the text read.
And he was just bedded in a perfect place for a stalk.
You got to get that text framed.
I should. Yeah.
And that's literally
Find an Etsy shop.
Yep. I was going to head back. I mean, I wanted to get back to the truck because, we were moving to a new spot anyway. And I was like, well, I know he's going to work this ridge out and I'll just pick him up. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, he ran into him on the way. And then I got a very, very excited phone call.
Yeah.
No way. So did you belly crawl all the way to kill that thing?
No, so there's a dry creek bed like right below him. And I walked down to that creek bed and walked down. And there was like at the end of it, I hit like the end of the dry creek bed and there was like a rock cliff. And I was like, of course, go figure. I'm going to knock a rock off and he's going to run away. I didn't, thank God. And I got up there and I just heard him raking a tree right next to me. And I just kind of peeked my head out and he was standing there. And 30 yards, drew my bow back and had no idea I was there and ran out there 70 yards and that sever just put him to sleep.
He hit
Holy
it perfect.
crap.
And you couldn't have walked up there and put it any better. He really hit it perfect.
Did you lose your mind?
I was
Oh.
going ballistic. I couldn't.
Oh
believe
my goodness.
it. I threw my bow on the ground. I was like, oh crap. I threw my bow.
What was that phone call like, dude?
Oh, it was the best phone call ever. I was screaming when I got to him, like I couldn't talk. My throat was sore because I'm just driving in the car and I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs. And then and there's quite a little walk out to him, not super far, but I get out to him and he has just yard sailed everything.
Yeah.
I was like, where's the bull? Oh, the bull's over here in my pack. Well, I want to show you where it happened. Did it happen here? No, it happened over here with my arrow. And I'm like, whoa. I said, let's calm down. I said, and I mean, literally he had stuff strewn all over the,
There's probably still some stuff out there.
and it was awesome. It was just great. And then like, I can see, he's like, well, I was like, yeah, I can see him laying out there. Like I see the bull. And, so we went and we found his pack. We got everything. Took me to where it happened and how he came up and all that stuff, which is super important to like when you do harvest something, like too many times we just move past it and we're to the animal and it's like, well, going back and seeing why it worked, why this worked this time and where he was and those types of things, like you can learn a lot. You learn a lot from failing, but you learn a lot from succeeding too if you take the time to find out what went right. So like we talk a lot about like finding out what went wrong, but find out also what went right. When it worked, why did it work?
Yeah.
That's so that is huge.
Yeah, that's so true. Funny, I was having a work meeting before we got on this, and I literally said the same thing. I'm mentoring somebody at the hospital, and she's, a new nurse or whatever.
Nice.
And I literally said the same thing to her. I was like, you can hindsight learn from mistakes, but you already made the mistake. So you already aren't going to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
But in hunting, when you succeed, if you can reproduce it, it's the same thing as like, if you're out fishing on a lake and you're catching everything on a crankbait and you switch to something slow moving and you stop catching them, like you learn something from that, right?
For sure.
That's so true. Is like, if you do it right and you can just reproduce the right, you're going to get right a lot more often.
That's right.
A lot more often.
Right. Yeah.
Hunter, the use of terrain and like remembering, like it's pretty easy to get excited and you could have just belly crawled straight to that thing or went through the brush, but you're your intuition to use a dry creek bed like that and climb? I mean, if that was Pennsylvania whitetail woods and I was climbing up a rock wall in September, I would have got bit by a rattlesnake for sure. But
Could have hit.
that's yeah. That's cool, man. What made you do that? Just
The
because it was the
wind.
easiest thing available? The wind?
It was definitely the easiest thing available. I had a couple trees I could have worked behind and maybe done the same thing. But the wind, it was kind of a hairy wind. It was like crosswind, but more towards him. So the creek bed option was definitely better with the wind. And I feel like that
Nice.
stalking antelope, that's where a lot of that learning and blowing antelope stalks definitely helped me stalk that elk for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was perfect practice. Perfect practice. Prince of the Plains. I know he taught you that.
Yeah.
Uh, now, Jace, you killed a bull early September as well. Was that on the same trip?
Nope, that was on a different hunt. He got to come help me with it after, but he wasn't with me when I killed it. I was with my good buddy when we got that one when I shot that bull.
That's a cool animal, man. That like
So
janky.
gnarly, funky bull. We were just talking about him this morning. He came home and he was looking at his. I had a buddy of mine boil out his skull for a Euro mount on that on this archery bull, and then he said, "You capped your bull." He's like, "Are you going to mount it?" And I said, I mean, I've had a couple of good buddies that have been here, and they're like, "Dude, how have you killed two freaky weird bulls like that? You have two of them. I want to see one. I've never even seen one. I want to shoot one. Should really mount one of them." So I capped that bull, and I was like, okay, I probably will mount this one just because he is really unique. He's a 7x3, really. I
Yeah.
mean, he's really weird. And like literally his body was, everybody says, that's the biggest body bull I've ever seen. This was a huge body.
Couldn't even drag
Just
him.
we tried to move him for pictures, both of us, and he's stout. And that
Yeah.
bull, from where he fell in a real awkward spot, but he wasn't moving.
No, not.
We were not moving this bull at all with just
No
Adam.
way.
No, he was
that's a big one.
old bodied sucker.
That's a big one. Are you you're hardcore into the whitetail scene now? Or are you still hunting Western kind of stuff?
I think we pretty much I've fully transitioned into whitetail mode. For sure. He could kill either or. His is mule or whitetail, and mine's just whitetail. And our units, I mean, they're really separated by like a mile.
Yeah.
One highway separates them. So, but he's really concentrated on mule deer this year, where he's at, and rightfully so, with what he's hunting. And then I'm hunting whitetail on my place that's right here close. And then my youngest son, Brody, who killed an antelope last week, he also has an archery tag. And so it's pretty much his show right now. So we're just trying to get him I would like to try to get him a buck in October if at all possible before we have our rifle split. Because in Colorado, you can't bow hunt during rifle seasons. You just can't. You can't even
really?
if you want. It's just you're done. So which is fine. I mean, it's a 8 or 10 day season, and then we start back on November 5th. But I do have one Western. I go to Montana here at the end of the month. But he's mule deer, and I've fully pretty much made the switch to whitetail. I'm gonna actually go to Oklahoma next week at some point. I'm not sure what day yet, but at some point I'm going to Oklahoma to hunt, and then hunting here. So we got plenty in the hopper, that's for sure.
Yeah, the family's not going hungry, that's for sure.
No, I just set out elk steaks for dinner again.
Oh man, perfect. I know that was a family favorite when I had those in the freezer. Did you guys do like a whole backcountry experience, or were you staying from home? Where were you hunting when Hunter shot his bull?
We were actually here, and just making a very long. It would have probably been easier, to do that, but it's still hard because Brody's sports schedule, you and I talked a lot about that. I was very diligent with him not to miss anything as much as humanly possible. And with Brody's schedule, it was easier to kind of base out of here and then leave really, really, really early. But they were really long. It's much. I mean, honestly, it was harder than just staying out there because we were actually losing sleep because
Yeah.
you
Just
get home so late, and then by the time you get done, it's 10, 11 o'clock by the time you eat dinner, and then we're leaving the
mhm.
house at 2:30,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. So it's
Whew.
like 2.5, 3 hours, and it was just turn around, turn around, turn around. So
Yeah.
yeah, it would have been a lot it would have been a lot easier to do that. And then but he had some other obligations too, so that he's been doing some guiding for a guy here, and then his buddy and my good buddy, his boss had a tag that he did go do a full-blown into the backcountry
Yeah,
hunt on with his boss, and so he really got the whole gamut this year.
for sure.
One thing that you mentioned that I want to talk about, since we're talking about that, my daughter started playing volleyball this year.
Nice.
So she's like, it wasn't too hard for me because she did most of it was in September. Her last game was the other day, but her team made it to the playoffs. So I'm gonna I'm bear hunting in New Jersey next week, but I'm gonna come home
Nice.
for one of her games and then drive
Go
back
back.
because it's not that far. It's like, 2 hours from me or whatever. But Hunter, your dad is a person that shows up, and he's talked to me about this a lot, is he doesn't ever want to miss something that you guys do, whatever it is, whether it was coaching or going to your sporting events, because your dad showed up for you when hunting wasn't. I'm sure hunting's always been your kind of thing, but did it help to build your real like love for it like you have?
100%, 100%. Because even if like he was tired from the day before or something, and he had just got back from a hunt or something, and he made it to a game or took us out the next morning, just completely exhausted, always there and ready to roll no matter what. Yeah, 100%.
Is that something when you were a kid and playing sports? Not, I mean, you're still a kid. I'm 37, so you're still a kid.
He's a kid.
uh, when your dad showed up for those sports, did it mean a lot to you, or at the time were you like, whatever? What does it mean to you now?
Yeah, so at the time it was like he was always there. So it's like, oh yeah, whatever, he's there. But now it definitely means a lot more because I know how hard it was to make it to those, or with the things that he had to give up, like hunting trips that he had to get up just to make it to my game. So it definitely means a lot.
So hindsight, the importance is pretty high, you think, for you on a scale of 1 to 10?
For sure.
That's something people struggle with so much is, well, what do I do? Like, I didn't my daughter's probably not gonna play a lot, like, right? Like, it's a playoff game. She's in
Yeah,
5th
yeah, yeah.
grade,
Yeah.
and she's probably gonna be on the bench most of the time. So I'm like, "Well, how important is it to her really if I,
Right.
don't come to a game?" And quite honestly, I've been to, like, 10 of them. I missed 1. I had to be at work, but I don't think it would be that important to her right now, but to me it is because I wanna see that time invested,
Yeah.
for the same reason, Hunter, like back then it was just normal that dad was there, but now you kind of see like you're getting into the real world. You see like what kind of a sacrifice that was, feeling the pressure for his career with writing I mean, it is kind of a real thing. Like nobody really cares, Jace, what you shoot, but you care and you want to see it involved in the stuff that like,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm doing a podcast, you write like you want to see it successful, and sometimes you have to be like, if you never were, then the stuff you're writing about is not all that credible.
Correct.
It's kind of how you prove the credibility, so it is some
Sound
kind of a pressure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
this is something that I was really excited to talk to you guys about. I've been like, Lizzie, I can't wait to have this podcast with these guys. Moving forward, we'll hear a story from your dad, because I know, in his big heart that he truly is a whitetail fanatic, even though he loves the Western thing. I know he loves those whitetails.
I do.
Dude, you killed a monster.
Oh yeah, the Wyoming one.
Yeah,
Yes.
you don't
That
even
was
remember it.
lucky. That's so lucky. That's because it was pure luck. I was like, It was, I got to go to a really, really awesome place. And I just got just like anything else, you're just super blessed to get to go to the place. And then the people, they were just awesome. Like the people were awesome. It was just one of those deals. And my buddy, he kept telling me, he's like, dude, there's this one buck, and I just, oh my gosh. And he takes me up there to scout the first morning, and I'm looking at this. I mean, we're hunting mountain whitetail. I mean, they're in the Ponderosa Pines. I mean, yeah, there's some ag for sure. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
alfalfa and those types of things, but this alfalfa field was like 4 miles. Like that's
Oh,
how big
wow.
it was. And he's like, "Yeah, man, and I had him over here, and I had him," and I'm like, "Bro, stop worrying about this one whitetail." I was like, I just wanna shoot a whitetail. I wanna shoot a mature whitetail buck."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I'm on the glass right now," and I was like, there's plenty of those. I was like, "So let's just, not." He's like, "No, man, I'm telling you, if we just stay after it, there's some places I want you to try." And I'm like, "Okay." And so, yeah, he just, it was very hot, even for there, for Northern Wyoming, it was very hot, and, so we were really focusing on water, and which I was a fan of, because I was just writing an article the other day. People probably get tired of me talking about, water for everything, but I mean, give me
Mm-hmm.
water over food. Just water is everything, and so, we set on water. The water hole he wanted me to sit, we could not sit the first night just because of the wind. And
Right.
so I set a different one. Had some does come by, had a nice little basket rack, ate, drink, and it was a really pretty kind of a lackluster, not a whole lot going on evening. And then the next night, we had a wind change, and we go into this spot, and I'm literally walking into it, and my eyes just keep getting bigger and bigger, and I look at him, and I'm like, "This is it." I was like, "This," and he's like, "I knew you'd like this." I was like, this is makes my spidey senses tingle all over." I said, "This is just," I was like, "We'll just stay here." I was like, "As long as we have this wind." I went, "Well, you don't even know what it is yet. You haven't even sat here." I said, "It's perfect." And it's just this transition area off of big bedding with like, it just looked like a perfect oval shaped pond. Um, and got in there and got set up. And oddly enough, we didn't have a lot of action. Like, had a little fawn come in that wanted to play and buck and run around, and few does. And then about 10 minutes before last light, I just I would really kind of just was focusing on another area, and I looked over, and I was like, that moment where you're like, "Oh my gosh." And here he comes with another buck, and just absolutely crazy, to kill that buck, and it ended up being the buck. So
Oh,
so
no way.
that buck, of all the bucks, there was that buck. Yeah, I've got trail camera pictures of him now and stuff when he was alive. And
Oh,
for,
cool.
for that area in Wyoming, he was a giant. I mean, just
Yeah.
absolute magnum. So it was super cool. It was so fun.
Yeah. That's way cool. You did the hunt in Wyoming, and you're talking about all the elk hunts that you go on together, and like, Hunter, you're starting to really be a super killer here. So how often do you and Dad spend time bouncing ideas off of each other and waypoints and all that kind of thing?
Constantly, literally constant. I'll call him during the week, and we'll share Onyx pins and go over things and find new areas, and literally constantly. I'm always
Yeah,
blowing him up with stuff, and he's calling me for different things and pulling cameras on my way home from work or
Yeah,
setting cameras. And yeah,
that's
definitely a lot
cool.
of teamwork goes into it.
for sure.
So are you as much of a whitetail fanatic as your dad?
I really like mule deer. I love mule deer. Like this year I took shed hunting super serious. And
Yeah.
I mean, I love finding their horns, learning about
Yeah.
them. And that's why I really want to focus on shooting a mule deer with my bow this year.
Shed hunting is one of my favorite things to do.
Oh,
Like,
it's
just
great.
because it's the scouting time of year. How much do you enjoy scouting over hunting?
Um, I don't know. I guess you have to do it, or it's super important to be successful. I love shed hunting, and the preparation, it's not as fun as hunting when you're doing it, but once you see it unfold and the work that you put in turn into success, that's when it's like super rewarding to know that you did all the scouting, all the right things, all the preparation, and it all came together. I feel like that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah. Jace, you can tell he's still a young guy because when you get older, you're like, I like the scouting part actually.
Absolutely. For me, it's like, all the preparation and everything like that. But I see that a lot, especially with my younger son. Like, he's got the same whitetail tag as me. So like all summer, and even now I'm like, dude, we got to haul water, because I've got ponds that I put in down there. I was like, we got to haul water. I need you to come help me with this. We got to try to put water on this food plot with a hose, and it's muddy and it's gross and it takes forever and there's mosquitoes. And like he wants zero to do with any of that because it's work.
Yeah.
It's zero to do.
Right.
But when it comes time to go hunt, he's ready to go. He wants to go do that part. But I think he's become more appreciative of being able to see, like, I credit most of my success to the work, just the work that you put in prior to. Anybody can get lucky, and that's great. I hope that everybody gets lucky and kills something, but consistency is built on work. And if you're going to be consistent at something, then you better work at it. And that's kind of the mindset that I think and I've seen it in him now for sure. Like he's willing to, he was coming home last night. You were talking about how much, communication. Like I'm sitting in a ground blind with Brody last night, and I'm getting text from him like, hey, do you think I can go ahead and pull into this spot? And I want to see if there's any deer there. And have you talked to the landowner yet? Yes, I have. Go ahead. So those things. Whereas normally, when he's 16 years old, he's not going to think about stopping in there to glass a field to look for deer because dad's done it. Dad
Right.
knows what's going on, but he's taken a lot of pride in it now that not that he doesn't want my help, but he wants less and less of it. He wants, because he takes a lot of pride in it too, wanting to know that he did so much of it on his own, and that's like, I told him with the second bull he killed, like I had zero to do with that. I had nothing to do with that other than telling him that night, talking to him that he needed to go over there. And now I wish I wouldn't have told him and I would have went over there.
Well, let's not
100% true.
Let's not give him too much credit.
I told you to go over there.
I told him I was thinking about going over there, and he said, "Yeah, you should go."
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure as a dad, Jace, that's extra. That's like the icing on the cake. I'm sure you're going to see it with Brody too. Like you said, he's like not super into the work. He's really into the hunting. I can remember being like that too.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Seeing the transition, I'm sure is like nothing else.
It's great because I know he's going to do it forever, and he's going to be good at it forever. He's going to be successful at it forever. Because he's learned what it takes to be successful at it. And he's doing it now. Like I have full confidence that he can, I don't need to be, for me now, it's a bonus to get to be there. I don't have to be there. I know he's going to be able to do it on his own. With Brody, I have got to be there all the time. But that'll change too. But I think that's where that's exciting for me. Like knowing he doesn't need me anymore. 95%. I'm going to keep my 5% that he needs me, but mostly he doesn't. And he's got it figured out. He knows what to do. He's a good woodsman, and that makes me very happy.
How much do you think you need Dad? You think it's that 5%?
Yeah, for sure. I'll always still call him for some advice or something, especially on antelope. Golly. I'll call him for some advice before a stalk or before I try and decoy one a little earlier, and he'll help me out for sure.
Man, you owe him like $200 now. What are we up to?
I know. We're getting expensive podcast, buddy.
This is a good one. I'm having fun. Do you get pretty competitive with your little brother, or does he try to get competitive with you?
He tries to get competitive with me.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a younger sibling thing. It's got to be.
I'm not the crap talker, but he is.
my little brother can't out hunt me, but he thinks he can beat me up still. So he tries every now and then.
So that won't ever change.
No, it won't change. But I've got like probably 80 pounds on him, so he has a hard time, you know.
We're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brody's little.
So Jace put out a teaser. There was a second hunter bull shot this year. So let's talk about it. What tag was that?
That was a tag that we get out here. It's a list C tag, and it's kind of just like everyone just buys one in case you see an elk. And I had one in my pocket while I was antelope hunting, and
On the super rare chance you see an elk.
yeah, it's like slim.
Let alone an elk like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, for real. So Dad had a gut feeling and told you to go hunt a bull.
Well, yeah, so I was gonna roll through there and antelope hunt, and you told me to check out this little spot for elk that I'd never been.
Mm-hmm.
Did it, and it was like 10 minutes before legal shooting light ended. I bugled down this draw, and he hammered like 150 yards from me. And I grabbed my gun,
Wow.
my orange, and I ran down like probably 100 yards, and I hit a couple cow calls, and he screamed again, and then he kind of hung up, and I hit a little chuckle and the cow call, and next thing I know, I hear him glunking through the woods, and he popped up over this ridge with like 3 minutes of light left, and I shot him full frontal at like 22 yards with the rifle.
Yeah, he
Oh
shot
my
his bull
goodness.
with the rifle closer than he shot
Yeah,
his bull with his bow.
it was crazy.
That is what that's one
Wow.
of those moments where you accidentally happen into a textbook moment, but you did everything right, you know?
Yeah, it was just pure, like, that was just God's plan for that to happen.
That's for
all
sure.
that
Yeah.
was.
For sure.
Yeah. Because how big was that bull? It's I mean, that thing is huge.
Yeah.
He's upper 330s. He's almost 340. He just doesn't have the mass. He's a 350 to 360 frame bull, but he just doesn't, like, that's what I told him the first thing when I walked up on it. I said that could be a 350 bull, but I just don't think he has the mass to make 350. But for out here, that's just I'm shooting that bull anywhere, and like, it was the last call I expected to get. My wife and I were actually in the truck on our way to go watch our local high school boys football game, same team he used to play for. My buddy's still the head coach, and I was like, we need to go support Dan tonight. It's going to be a rough one. So my wife and I were literally driving there, and I don't know if you couldn't get a hold of me, or
I called him like 4 times and he didn't answer, and I called my mom.
And so he called Amy, and I could just hear this screaming on the other end of the phone. I thought something was wrong. And then I hear him, kill the big bull. He's so big. It's a big bull. And she's like, oh my gosh, Hunter killed a big bull. And then I got on the phone with him, and I'm like, what? So then it turned into a very long evening again. We've had some long sleep has been comes at a premium around here this time of year, I would feel like. A real premium.
Yeah, man. Those pack outs, I'm sure, aren't easy.
That one was easy. That was the easiest pack out I've ever been on in my life, but some aren't, but still, it's just the amount of just like the amount of drive time and to get into some of these places, you know, how far it is even from here to where you're driving to, just because the 2 tracks and everything like that. It's
and
different.
Even when you get there, some of them are like 3-4 mile walks in, just going in and not even knowing what you're going to walk into,
just to look at one drainage.
Yeah,
you know, it's just, you're putting a lot of eggs in there, and you have to keep doing it, because eventually you're going to find them. Like, eventually you will happen, but you have to keep going and going and going. And that means a lot of days and a lot of time of nothing. And I mean zero, like nothing. It's weird.
Yeah.
Not even deer.
Yeah. Not even deer.
Hunter, what's something that you've learned as a newer hunter that's really helped? Something like you've been talking about the wind a lot. What's something that's helped your success in taking time to understand that thing? Is it wind and thermals? Is it learning terrain? Is it learning something about the animal?
Right. So for me, wind is everything. And that comes from my dad a lot. Cause like a lot of the times
Mm-hmm.
they catch a glimpse of you or something, you can usually sit down and they'll go back to feeding or kind of forget about it. But if
Yep.
they smell you, it's over. If they smell you, it's
Yep.
over. And learning to work the wind and play the wind and what the wind does here. Because usually in September, it's pretty predictable. It'll blow one way in the morning and then it'll do a 360 during the afternoon and blow the exact opposite way in the evening. So you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of work your way through everything, just knowing which direction the wind's going to be and how to work it. But the wind for sure, learning how to work that and learn it, and that's definitely helped 100%.
What was it hard for you to learn to do that?
Yeah, definitely. You I took me a couple blown stalks to really get good at it, I guess. But watching my dad and being with him when I was younger and watching the way he works it and uses it stalking and like always checking his wind bottle and like excessively and whatnot.
Yeah.
Excessively.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
I
Wind
think
is just, you just have to.
yeah. I think something that's very different about Western hunting versus Eastern hunting is I feel that the wind and the thermals are on steroids in the West versus the East. Like they're really important here. You, I mean, you have to live by almost thermal currents, in the hills that I'm hunting in or whatever. But the way an elk smells versus a whitetail versus how strong those currents are in those bigger, vast areas that you guys are hunting is, you come to the East, man, you guys will be lighting it up because
It's
of that knowledge.
it's the
Go
worst.
ahead.
I've had more. I think about it a lot. Like the amount of animals that I would have killed and the size of some of these, if it wasn't for one factor, two factors, wind
Mm-hmm.
and thermals, because they're different things. But I mean, just because of an animal's nose and something happening wrong to ruin that. I mean, it almost ruined that whitetail we were just talking about in Wyoming. I mean, I should have shot
Mm-hmm.
that buck at 20 yards while he was drinking, and I shot him at 50. Because I mean, it had gotten so still that evening, which I hate when I'm deer hunting. I hate when I'm hunting really anything is a still wind.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
was already on edge because they're already on edge because they know they should hear everything. And I could literally just feel it. I mean, I could feel a slight change. And I mean, he went from pretty relaxed and me about to draw my bow to boom and ran up out of the pond. And thank God, the only thing that saved me was that the other buck that he was with didn't.
Mm.
I still had the wind on him. And that other buck's
Okay.
watching him like, bro, what's the problem? And he stopped to look at him and gave me a chance to get a snap range and shoot him. But other than that, it would have cost me. I mean, and it was that
Yeah.
quick and that long. And that's after all evening of having it just right. So that goes back to that 9.9 out of 10. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that 1 minute of time, I had some variables, and the variable cost me. It could have cost me big. I mean, in fact, I was certain it did when he took off. I was like, "There's
Yeah.
150 deer just gonna run away now."
Yeah.
It's so hard.
You did something right. There are the times where you have to make those split decisions like, oh, I'm going to shoot him at 50. I still have the opportunity. I've
Right.
had that too. Um, I killed a 10 pointer a couple years ago coming down a trail with a smaller buck in front of him, like, using him as a shield kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
they did not have, they were coming from the north. My wind was northeast. Right. And they were trying to, the smaller buck knew something wasn't right. I think he caught my ground scent or something. And the bigger buck was paying zero attention to
Yep,
whatever was happening.
yep,
And this smaller buck kept trying to, like, he was easing out to try to catch my wind, kept easing out and easing out and easing out. And he kept going back and coming out and going back and coming down, like they were coming on this trail. And finally he got out just far enough that he caught just a little bit of my wind and he blew and ran past me. made this 10-pointer jump out onto the clear trail. And he's like looking around like, same deal, man. Like, what the heck
Yep.
is wrong with you?
Yep.
But in those moments, you only have that, like, until he figures out what's wrong.
Yep. And it's
You only
seconds.
got that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I ended up making a 12-yard frontal shot on this deer, and he went like 60 yards.
Yep.
But that's one of those things where as a bow hunter, you would prefer to take that, like, I'm going to just take my time and
Yep.
go through my shot process. Sometimes as a bow hunter, your shot press, you need to have almost a backup, is like,
You need to be able to
pull it up,
speed up.
put it on, and yeah, big time.
You gotta go quick sometimes.
Yeah. Do you find that same kind of thing with like elk hunting as well?
Yeah, I do. I mean, for sure, because it's just, I mean, there's been so many times where, that's why years ago I kind of stopped shooting a single pin, is just because, so many times with an elk, he's at 40 and you think you're going to shoot him at 40 and he turns and starts walking right at you. And now you're like, well, I can't dial, I need to know. So, I mean, or same type of deal, they'll get too close. They'll bust, maybe they bust you drawing and they bounce out through the timber and you and get them stopped. And then you've got, I mean, at that point, you really got to be able to get into your bow, get your anchor and get your shot off and make sure that, those are just, and that again, all that just comes from repetitions here. I mean, we were out this morning shooting, it's blowing 100 miles an hour today. And we were shooting in the wind this morning, just to, because I shoot a hinge, 90% of the time I shoot a hinge. And one of the drawbacks to a hinge is pressing go is kind of impossible. But, I've learned to be able to, in the wind, just how I want to manipulate that, with rotation, less push and pull and more quick rotation. And I can make that hinge go if I need to. So just, but being able to work all those different scenarios, but it just, all of that goes back to, all of the different preparation just to get to that one moment, so that when you have that one moment, you have something better to say than it was, oh, I was so close.
Yeah. Even though we still get those stories too often.
So many. Far too often.
Far too often. Hunter, what was your first big game animal?
It was a pronghorn with a rifle.
Pronghorn?
That was the very first. Well, yeah. Yep. That was my very first big game animal. No,
it was not.
I shot a spike with my bow.
It was a whitetail. It was a spike whitetail.
Because I wasn't old enough to hunt here,
Colorado.
so I shot a spike whitetail with my bow.
That's right. That's right.
Where my dad's
No
going.
way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how old were you?
11. I was 11 because you got to be
12 in
to hunt
Colorado.
big game in Colorado. Yep.
Yeah. So I kind of want to get the story from both your perspective on that deer. Do you remember it?
Oh, like it was yesterday. 100%.
Me too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's try to do this. I want you go ahead, Hunter, and start the story off. Jace, go ahead and interject, but I want to hear the story from kind of both your perspectives.
All right. Yeah, so I was 11 years old. Had a little bear bow that's actually sitting in the shop right now with single pin. And I think I was shooting like 40 pounds maybe.
Yeah.
But we sat this ground blind.
You're a big 11-year-old, because I shot a bear bow
He was
at
a
12,
big kid.
and I could pull like 30 pounds tops.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's definitely hard pulling bows back, way harder than people would think. But yeah, we were sitting. We got to this ground blind that we were gonna sit, and it was just blowing a million miles an hour,
and
snowing, freezing cold. It was like 10 degrees below zero. And
it was definitely below zero.
Oh my gosh, with the wind chill, it was I was frozen. I did not pack for that kind of weather. And so we get this ground blind set back up where it was, because it had blown into this barbed wire fence. We get set back up, and we're sitting in there, and my dad's like, we might have to leave. This is getting pretty wet.
It was getting bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having to hold the ground blind down with my feet.
Yeah.
He's freezing.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm freezing. I was like, this is not how I anticipated. And they just don't get that in Western Oklahoma. I mean, they do, but not like this was extreme. And even my buddy Scott was like, this is extreme. And it was, I mean, but like you said, I mean, you look at so many things and you see times where God just interjects and says, okay, you need this now. And then that,
Yeah.
like, we didn't have to sit long.
No, it was
It was
45
like
minutes.
45
tops.
minutes stops. Yeah. And will you go ahead, because I'm bad at overtaking stories.
And so this one spike walks out right in front of our blind, like 22 yards, I think it was. And it's a bigger spike than the one I shot. And I pull my bow back and I shot right over his back. And I was like kind of sad. And my dad's like, oh, it's okay. It happens, whatnot. And then that buck takes off and runs back into the woods. And another spike did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And he was at like 30 yards.
A little farther.
And he's like, just take your time, breathe. Gonna be all right. And I shot and I hit him pretty.
Horrible shot.
Yeah, I
was
hit him.
horrible.
I hit him pretty far back in the lungs. All right, I'm not gonna lie to you. I hit him pretty far back. I did get lungs and a little bit of liver,
Which at the time,
and the arrow stuck in him like that far.
and
Oh,
I'm
so
like,
no penetration.
I have to explain that this is going to not end well.
And that's
like,
exactly
and
what
it
he
was,
tried to do.
and it was high.
Yep.
And I'm like, this just didn't. This we didn't get any penetration. He's only pulling. He's shooting a little 1-inch cut fixed blade broadhead. You know, so it was like, so trying to explain that to him, and I told him, I was like, the best thing we can do is leave. And I said, we gotta just go to the truck. And I said, then we'll kind of figure it out from there. And so we walked back to the truck. I got the blind, got everything put away, and I was like, okay, or to the truck. And then I was like, you know what? It's not going to hurt to drive the truck in and pick up that ground blind. I was like, because that's his deer. You know, we're done anyway. So literally get in the truck and I start driving in, and there's the wood lot runs right there. And I look over and I'm like, I see his arrow sticking up. And so I didn't say anything. I stop and I blast, and I'm like, dude, there's your deer. It's dead. It's dead right there. And it was stone dead. It didn't go 120 yards from where we shot him, and fell in the opening in this shelter belt. And so
no way.
Now I'm like super elated because it was super cool.
I started crying.
Yeah, you started crying. It was great. It was great.
That's awesome.
Everything we wanted out of the experience.
It's so cool to remember those moments. Like I've talked to so many people about their first animal or whatever, you know, some kind of memorable story. And I love everyone I love them all, man. They're so fun.
There's good ones.
Hunter, what's something that your dad has taught you about the value of learning to do hard things like hunting that translates into your everyday life?
Going back to like the preparation side of it, he takes everything. Well, he does everything 100%, and it goes along with his preparation for anything like hunting, running, coaching, anything. Everything's 100% in preparation and performance, right? And so learning to do everything 100% and not just kind of half-ass it, for sure, because I was terrible at that for quite some time. But learning how to take everything serious and do your absolute best that you can, and then let the results kind of just like fall and see what happens, I guess. But doing everything 100%, no matter what, whether it's preparation or your performance, that's the biggest thing I've learned.
Yeah. What has your dad taught you about connecting your faith to the way that you've learned to hunt and those kinds of things?
Yeah, that's a great question. Everything happens for a reason. So, like, for example, I blew out that stalk on that day, and we were driving out, rainstorm. If we didn't eat for however long we did, or if we didn't stop to look at a moo cow that I thought was an elk, we would have never seen that elk cross the road. So just like everything has a purpose, everything happens for a reason in life and hunting, everything. And that's the biggest thing, that like faith in hunting and everyday life.
You know, it's not easy to have faith like your dad has and your whole family, really, in a world that we live in today. Hunting is such a really good way to practice the hard things when they get hard and keep going, you know?
Of course.
And for me, that's what I've really taken from hunting and faith is that part of it. And I mean, there's so many more. I mean, just sitting in the woods in a tree and just being quiet and learning about God and yourself just because you have time to talk, without the noise around you. Guys, I want to be sensitive to your time. I know that you probably are ready to get out in that 100-mile-an-hour wind today and kill some stuff.
I
But
think he should. I don't think Brody. So Brody's difficult. Love him to death, but he's difficult. He was so mad last night that we had to sit in a ground blind. And I get it. Like I promised him we were going to sit in a tree, and we
yeah,
get there, and I don't know what it takes to be a weatherman in Southeast Colorado, but apparently not much because it had forecasted dead east, not northeast, not anything, east, east, east all day, like a steady wind. And we get down there, and I'd gone for a run, and like I'm running, and I'm like, this feels north. It's just, but then I just, I'm running, so I'm like, it's just whatever. I'm between cornfields, it's nothing. And we get down there,
yeah,
and I was like, dude, we can't go to the tree. I was like, it's north. I was like, you doesn't get any more north. So we had to send him in a
hmm
ground. And tonight, that would have been his first time in a tree last night.
oh,
And
okay,
I don't think I want his first time in a tree to be 30+ mile an hour winds. And the tree that he's in is
yeah,
not, you know what I mean? And I don't want him having to think about shooting while because I'm going to hang next to him in the saddle. And I'm just like, so I think my day is going to be some work, but I think like on days like this for him, especially, you're got to be inside of 40, but this is a good day to go creep around a little bit and see if you can't find a muley somewhere and get in on him because you can get away with a lot. And even though I think some deer whitetail wise will move here tonight, I don't know. It's like 87, dude. It's bad,
oh
but
yeah,
they still might move a little bit. But I just don't. I'm not going to take Brody out in that as mad as he's going to be. We're just he's going to listen to this someday and realize like I did this for his own good. Um,
yeah,
but I think he should go. I think he probably will go slip around and at least put some glass on some stuff. But I got some
good.
work to do, and I need to go fletch some arrows and do a few things. But yeah, man, it's always so fun talking to you, buddy.
Yeah, you too, man. Uh, I feel like your household over there is like camp the entire fall. So I'm
It
pretty
kind of
jealous of
is.
that, man.
It's kind of camp the entire fall. It is. There's always some. It's always a full house. We have our kids, other people's kids. During Antelope last week, we had 11 people staying here. We were not.
Oh man.
That is just crazy, but when my wife and I bought this place, we bought it and we said, this is more than what we need. So we're going to make sure that it's always open to whoever needs it and how we want to use and how God wants us to use it.
Yep.
Sometimes that's very hard because sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I need a break from all this. Like, I'll be real honest. But yeah, it's constant. I think, I made my really good buddy last week. I made him laugh because between him and his wife, he was remarried. They have 6 girls total. So it's
Oh
him and
wow.
his, their 6 girls. All of us last weekend. Hunter wasn't here, but Brody's here. Me and my wife and the whole 9 yards. And 2 of Brody's friends came over, and we're just sitting down to dinner. And there's a Clint Eastwood line where he says something along the lines of, "Oh, they might as well ride along with us. Everybody else is." And I said that. I said the 2 kids knocked on the door, and I told them. I said, my wife, she's like, "What should we do about dinner?" I said, "Well, they might as well eat with us. Everybody else is." So I thought that was funny. But yeah, yep, it's pretty open forum here. But yeah, we got try to keep it interesting and always have something fun going on, something fun for
Oh
them
man.
to do.
What a great place to be at this time of the year, man.
For sure, bud.
Well, guys, I really, really appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun for me. So thank you.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you. Yeah.